first honoree and inductee will be Ms. CC Ice, who will recognize Ms. CC Ice, who is being inducted tonight for being a distinguished alumna of Dunklin R-5 School District. At this time, I would like to introduce Mrs. Joanne Schomburg from the Hall of Fame class of 2016.
I'm sure most of you know that CC Ice is my aunt. If you didn't,
Not your niece. Your niece.
my aunt. First of all, I'm good to be here. I stand out in the front. I didn't have to do that. Stand away anyway. Oh, that's loud. Okay. Start over. I'll share a couple of memories about CC. First, my brother was talking to me the other day, and he said, "Do you remember when CC used to tiptoe around on her toes and they curled under?" And talking to her mom, she said, "Yeah." Everybody remembered that about CC, and she had a nickname called Twinkle Toes that Mom gave her. Now, I have another memory that was mine and Lynn's. She was the first. She's already practicing for a future career on the tip. I forgot that. I will also share a memory of a little girl looking for a lot of excitement at the trip to Six Flags. I don't know if you remember the trip, Cece, but my husband Lynn and I took Cece and her brother Randall to Six Flags, where Cece's character was an indication of who she would grow up to be. Really, no matter what surroundings she was in, she was this special person. Randall and Cece quickly informed Uncle Lynn that they wanted to go to Screaming Eagle. Lynn explained, well, to them, you have to go to my two favorite rides first. And they looked at him, being prepared to be very bored. And but Cece grabbed his hand and looked up and up and up at him and said, "Tree, then let's go." She nicknamed him Tree. And if you remember, he's 6'5", and she's working. Not to be daunted, the tree's two rides was merry-go-round and the mine train. Lynn just got her on the merry-go-round and Brandon, and teased them and jumping up and down on the horse and just act like the usual crazy man that he could act like. It was fun. They were laughing, having a good time. They got off and then they went to the mine train, and as the mine train goes down, it gets in scary parts. The really little kid. I mean, this 6'5" man is screaming like he's scared to death, and they're consoling him and all that. We get off, and Cece says, "Tree, you can make anything fun." And he said, "Well, you can go with the Screaming Eagle now." And she said, "You're going to go with us?" He said, "No, I don't do the Screaming Eagle. You go with Aunt Joanne." So I had to go with the Screaming Eagle. And I'm sure most of, I already said about all that. Oh, the ironic part is Cece had her first stunt, I think some of you might know this, at the magic performance at Six Flags years later. Life comes full circle. The character that Cece manifests in her immediate surroundings are an indication of what she is like in all of her surroundings. As everyone can attest, Cece is a joy to be with for everybody. Here you are, Justin. I almost lost you. I'm honored to introduce our guest speaker tonight, who hails from Boston, Massachusetts. He's a multi-award winning martial artist and an Emmy-nominated stunt performer, known for his work in the Marvel Universe. This includes such projects as Avenger Endgame and Punisher. He is most recently known for stunt doubling the character of the U.S. agent on Marvel's The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Justin Eaton is renowned in his craft. He is honored to be here tonight to share, and we are honored to have him share about one of our Herculaneum Hall of Fame inductees. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Justin Eaton.
Thank you, Mrs. Schomburg, and thank you to all the esteemed alumni and staff allowing me the honor to speak here this evening on this prestigious occasion. My name is Justin Eaton, and I'm here to talk about someone who kept reaching. Her name is Cecilia Ice. She was born in St. Louis, Missouri, where she excelled in school, took part in many recitals, and challenged herself to just about anything she could. Dancing, singing, acting, or just roughhousing with her brothers, which was awful. She loved her friends, her family, and her home, but at a young age, Cecilia began to realize that her aspirations were growing, and that her world may need to grow as well one day, if she were to reach those aspirations. What a daunting and scary thought to have at such a young age. Cece and her family lived in Barnhart, Missouri when she began attending a school that would change her life. And standing in it right now. Herculaneum High would be a place and time in her life that would nurture and encourage her massive dreams. Cece took that encouragement and she began reaching. She moved out of Missouri and before long found herself in Los Angeles, California, working as a PA. Now this is challenging work, if you've heard anything about it. The workload, the insane hours, and all for a wage that would barely keep the candles burning. But this was a pit stop for Cecilia, so she endured, and she kept reaching. Eventually, Cece found herself working in the art department on a little show called Big Brother, where she was also designated tester of the insane Ninja Warrior-like challenges that took place on that show. But even then, her coworkers knew she was destined to do more, and that she would. So Cece kept reaching. One of the first times I met Cece was on Avengers Endgame. She was testing a wire gag that would be later shot on production. Now, this is going to sound a little confusing. It was a 2-story, chipping, gooch-wrapped dead man. That probably means nothing to you. But believe it or not, it's worse than it sounds. It's difficult to describe, but what I know I can convey appropriately is the dead man part of that gag. In stunts, a dead man is when a performer is wearing a harness and a rope or line is attached to that harness with a shackle. That rope or line is set to a certain length and then secured to a solid point, a scissor lift or a wall, usually a wall. And then the performer runs, falls, or jumps in the opposite direction, hitting the limit of that line at full speed. The line goes taut and halts the performer to a dead stop. Imagine an animal leashed up in your backyard and just taking off running. Only it's a human, and they have volunteered for it. They're obviously quite violent, very violent. I watched Cecilia perform this move over 20 times without break, without a complaint, and also that a performer who would be performing it on the day would have the best chance of safety. It's not even for her. I was in awe, immediately. Believe me, you have to be more than just tough as nails to do what I watched her do that day, and countless days since. And that's just it. She is more. She does so much more. Since the days of Infinity War, Cecilia has been involved in dozens and dozens of projects, many of which are in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, including Avengers Endgame, Loki, Black Widow, WandaVision. Where predominantly for the past 6 years, she has been stunt doubling for Elizabeth Olsen, who plays Wanda in Scarlet Witch. Doing fight scenes on the battlefield of Wakanda, wire ratchets through windows in the streets of Scotland, hurling herself off ledges just to bounce off of the hard ground in a massive soundstage in the UK. These are but a few small examples of the physical dedication Cecilia has for her very difficult career she pursues and thrives in. But she is so much more than a stunt double. She cares deeply for the health and safety of whomever she's around or who she's doubling, but also for her fellow stunt team and departments. She is selfless in her life and in her work, even to the extent of being the owner and operator of 2 spaces in Georgia whose sole purpose is to serve the stunt community by providing a safe place for stunt performers to learn and actors to train to be ready for those tough days to perform on camera. Because she wants those traveling the path that she did to have a better chance than she did. She is dedicated in that rare way that rides the cusp of obsession. I have never known another performer in this field or person in my life to have her tenacity, her creativity, her grace, her professionalism, or her heart. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you one of this year's Herculaneum Hall of Fame inductees, Cecilia Ice.
Thank you, Justin, for such an amazing introduction, as well as the constant love and support always. Thank you to the Herculaneum faculty and staff for welcoming me here tonight. And thank you to all the family and friends for joining me at this wonderful event. And I lift up my deepest gratitude and praise to God for his many blessings, unending love, and enduring forgiveness along my life's journey. Thank you, Lord. I am humbled by this amazing honor of induction into the Herculaneum High School Blackcat Hall of Fame. At times, I don't feel quite worthy to be included in such incredible inductees tonight, and I stand before you absolute gratitude and loving humility. Imagination, creative self-expression, and confident exploration were concepts that I first learned at home through the many adventures with my amazing 12 brothers and sisters, as well as supportive, loving, and very patient parents. These important traits were absolutely cultivated at the Dunklin R-5 schools, St. Thomas Middle School, and Herculaneum High School. What sets Herculaneum and St. Thomas apart? In my youth, as school districts were readjusted and living arrangements were changed, I had the opportunity to experience several different types of schools prior to coming to St. Thomas Middle School and then into Herculaneum High School. With respect, I will leave the previous schools' names out, but I will take a moment to quickly express that during those critical years of learning, my experiences in those environments were less than positive, and at many times I found myself withdrawn at school, lacking in confidence, and unmotivated to even connect to anyone around me. So I was a bit of a loner, and I certainly didn't express myself creatively or show my passions very often. The moment that I started at St. Thomas Middle School and into Herculaneum High School, I had a sense of belonging and encouragement, and everything changed for me. Throughout my years at St. Thomas and Herky High, I was encouraged artistically and academically in many different forms through a positive atmosphere of learning and created by my incredible teachers and the staff. Ms. Fisher, you guided me very patiently through the growth of finding my own voice, my own very strong opinions, but you also instilled the important lesson of respecting other people's opinions, perfecting the method of how to share, how to discuss, how to learn, grow through communication with others is immensely important, and I am ever grateful to you, always and ever, for that very important lesson. Mrs. Aylesworth, not only did you put up with my crazy and goofy antics in the hallway all the time, but you took my dreams seriously when I expressed to you my desires to continue in a path in the fine arts after graduation. You supported every show. Every performance that we had, every artistic exploration, you were there, and that support meant more to me than you can ever know. Coach Caston showed me that the road to accomplishing something you're proud of is not easy and simple, but it's worth every challenge if you stick with it and you put the true work in. You taught me that lesson of hard work pays off, and a lesson I take with me every day. To my art instructors, Mr. Helms, Mr. Drennan, who both saw in me an artistic talent that I didn't even fully recognize in myself. In fact, Mr. Helms gave me free rein my senior year, first hour, to choose any which way I wanted to express myself artistically. And in doing so, I discovered a courage and a boldness that I didn't know I had, and that important discovery has aided me in every part of my career since. To TJ Springmeyer, always teaching me self-respect, courageous truths, and amazing confidence, which I use when I face every challenge in this world. And also to Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, who set the spark of stage performance and helped form my path of musical theater, as well as my deep passion for performing arts that I carry with me all the days that I live. I cannot express enough how important it was for me and how important it is for all students to have access to the fine arts during my years at Herculaneum and during their years in high school. No other school in this area had such a successful music and theater program as the one that was cultivated here. This moment of Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, when I was here, their passion and love for the arts, and those who have followed after, the willingness to share that passion during the years set a trajectory of my path to the entertainment industry that I use today. Though film is a different sort of medium than the musical arts and theater, I absolutely use every single skill that I acquired through my theatrical experiences here at Herculaneum High School, as well as when I went to Millikan University for a BFA in musical theater. I wish I had time to name all of the amazing teachers and faculty here during my years at Herculaneum, but just to fully express how much the people of Hercu mean to me, from coast to coast, in the US to every city abroad, in every job that I have ever worked, from a PA to a Marvel stunt performer, I take the lessons that I learned here with me each day along the amazing and challenging journey that I've had. Every teacher that I've had during my years at Herculaneum High School taught me the invaluable lessons and instilled the most important traits: honesty, strength, integrity, kindness, empathy, teamwork, fortitude, creativity, problem solving, hard work ethic, and most importantly, a moral compass to navigate this challenging journey through the entertainment and film industries, which is not easy. With these important tools, Herculaneum set me up for professional, spiritual, and career success to this very moment. I could not have made this journey without these important influences, and I will always be honored and proud to say, once a black cat, always a black cat. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.